Greetings and welcome to Utique Lifestyle. This is a wardrobe planning series in collaboration with So Much Fabric, where fabric is sewn into fashion. I recently sewed my white linen dress and did bias binding along the inside of the pockets. And I thought I would share the process of how I bound the pockets with you. So let's get started. The pocket pieces have already been cut, and I'm going to note the wrong side of the pocket and the right side. I will be marking on the wrong side. I will be using my Slits pencil to mark 5/8 inch down from the top and 5/8 inch up from the bottom. Next, I'm going to mark 3/8 inch from the edge of the pocket. Now I'm going to use a ruler to draw a straight line down, and then I'm going to draw the line 3/8 inch in from the edge and 5/8 inch down. Repeat it for the other side. And the markings should look like this. Now I'm ready to attach the pockets onto the dress. Make note the front of the dress versus the back. Here I had cut slits for the pocket placements. However, I'm going to place pins so that you can see where it's supposed to be. With the wrong side of the pockets facing up, I'm going to place it right underneath the pins. I'm going to pin it in place to stabilize it. And then I will sew along the markings that I had made. Now on the front pocket, I'm going to cut an angled slit at the top and bottom of the pocket. Now I will fold it in and pin. Next, I'm going to take the bias binding and basically encase the side seam inside the binding. And then I will pin it about every 1/2 inch to 1 inch. When I get to the pocket, I will also encase the left side of the slit into the bias binding. I will encase the seam all the way down to the bottom of the dress. Next, I will sew along the bias binding about 1/8 inch from the inside edge. Now that the bias binding is sewn on, I'm going to temporarily remove the pins, flip the front pocket back, and then do an edge stitch. And it should look like this. Next, I'm going to flip the back pocket forward. I will fold over the front of the dress and then align the side seams and the pockets. I will then start pinning them together. When I get to the pocket, I am going to make sure the edge of the pockets align. And then I will continue to pin the side seams together all the way down to the hem of the dress. Next, I will sew a 5/8 inch seam all the way to the pocket marking, and then I will change it into a base stitch along the pocket until I reach the other pocket marking. When I get to the other end of the pocket marking, I will switch it back to a regular stitch and then continue all the way down to the hem. So here you will see all the stitching lines. However, at the blue marking, it is a base stitch. Now I am going to open up the seam, and using my iron, I will press it open. This is also a good opportunity where the slits that were cut earlier are ironed down flat. I will continue to press the seam open all the way down to the hem. After ironing it open, I saw a heart. So this is love for all my subscribers. Thank you everyone for subscribing and visiting my channel. Now I will take the back pocket and fold it over. You will know it is the back pocket because it is on the same side where it has not been bias bound. Now iron it flat down. You may notice that the pockets are not aligned. However, I'm not going to worry about it. I will cut along the side of the pockets and then make sure they match up. Now that the pockets are perfectly matched up and the tabs are ironed down, I am going to encase both the front and the back pockets together inside the bias binding. I pin it about 1/2 inch to 1 inch apart. I will trim off the excess binding and then stitch 1/8 inch from the edge of the binding. Next, I will iron it for a clean, crisp look. Now I'm going to attach the pockets to the front seam. Here the tabs are exposed, so I'm just going to trim it off. I'm going to flip the back of the dress underneath the front so that the front seam is laying flat. I will pin the pocket to the front seam and then start sewing 5/8 inch from the very edge of the seam all the way around the pocket. Now I am ready to remove the base stitching. Carefully and slowly remove the base stitching. You have released the opening and now you are able to put your hand in the pocket. To stabilize the back pocket, I am going to flip the fabric over and then stitch it along the seam, making sure you are not catching the front side of the dress. Here I will sew 1/2 inch seam. Now to make sure the stitches are secured, I am going to lay the seams flat on top of each other and then stitch along the top and bottom of the pocket. Now I am ready to do the bias binding along the back seam. So I will encase the seam all the way along the back side. Again, pinning it about 1/2 inch to 1 inch apart, and you will pin it all the way down to the hem. Sew on the bias binding and then iron. And now you will have a beautiful bias bound pocket. And now all you have to do is repeat it for the other side. Let me know down below if you ever did bias binding around the pockets and how was your experience. If you enjoyed this video, please click like, subscribe, and don't forget to ring the bell for future new videos. Well, thank you for watching, and I hope you got inspired to create something extraordinary out of the ordinary.